Hello there again, Internet. Happy to see you here amongst the green of January. What I am pleased to announce, for those of you who've been following I think, Paul Logan, Mr. Logan, the Internet influencer or celebrity or whatever you want to call him, guy who's made a name for himself on YouTube and the like over the years, who launched an attempt at making a game called Zoo or Egg, which CoffeeZilla reported about last year, and which exposed what was basically an NFT scam that was never fully developed or released by the internal team that was developing it. Well, it appears that Mr. Logan has now launched a buyback and has promised to commit 0.1 ETH for each NFT that was purchased from that project, which apparently is the price that they were sold at in ETH value back in 2021 or so. And of course, the holders of the Zoo token, which was associated with that project, are not getting their funds refunded, even though that coin or token has fallen something like 99.9% in value. What it shows is that Mr. Logan has apparently, after a much hemming and hawing and multiple exposures by CoffeeZilla, has finally agreed to do this buyback in a way that limits his liability, because anybody accepting the buyback has to sign a waiver that they won't hold him liable in any future cases or things like that. So they can't sue him for that project, or at least that part of the project. And it exposes the fact that he was, involved with a team that did scam those NFT investors. And he blames other members of the team, of course, not taking responsibility for himself, but promising to pay back, and says he never made any money from it. So he's trying to show that he is a good guy and he doesn't want to scam people over this project. But still, questions linger like, well, why wasn't this done sooner? Why did he wait until now? He could have done this 6 months ago or a year ago, when it was obvious to everyone that the whole project was basically a sham and that there were some nefarious goings on with the whole project, the game, the token, the various aspects of it, that there were people involved who were, having bad intentions and carrying out bad intentions in terms of, profiting illicitly when they weren't supposed to, in ways they weren't supposed to. And it demonstrates that despite all the delays, it is possible to get some remedy through the legal system, despite the many delays and the obvious aggravation and stress that this has caused for many people. Now, of course, the price of ETH may not exactly be where it was when they bought these tokens, these NFTs. So what does that mean? That means that, you know, if people bought these NFTs when the price of ETH was higher than it is today, then the dollar value of their reimbursement or of their buyback will not be as great as when they bought the token. Of course, you know, they're getting back, if they actually get back the same amount of ETH that they put in as ETH, well then at least they're getting that one-to-one, if that in fact is what happens. There's a website for it. It's somewhere on the interwebs, like Egg Buyback or something like that, Egg NFT, whatever it is. I don't know. I forgot the URL name. I saw it in the press release earlier, or in the news coverage earlier. So it is possible for people apparently to sign up for the buyback. I haven't yet seen any reports of anyone getting the actual buyback reimbursement yet through further investigation. But for now, there is nominally a process in place, and there is a deadline. It's like a month from now or something like that. A month and a half, whatever it is, maybe 8 weeks, I don't know. I think it's sometime in February of this year, by which people have to, you know, claim the buyback. So conveniently, after dragging his feet for a year and a half or two, it gives everybody who wants their money back about a month to make their claim, which again may sound reasonable to some, but it also can sound very unreasonable to anybody who may realize that, hey, maybe somebody's on vacation for a while and they're not going to hear about this for a while. Who knows? Now you'd think anybody invested, especially if they invested a significant amount, would be all over this, but there are always circumstances and cases where, you know, something may slip through. And, you know, for a particular person, you never know anybody's individual circumstance, but $100, $200, $500, $1,000 may mean more to the person that invested that amount versus the person that invested maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. It all depends on the individual circumstance. I'm not saying that people who invested a lot shouldn't get their full amount. I think they should. I'm just saying putting such a sharp and small timeline on the period of making, you know, being made available for buyback claims is a little bit, it shows that the grift does not end by even claiming a buyback or by opening a buyback period. Because if he was serious about having the buyback, you know, he'd leave it open for 6 months or a year, so that absolutely everybody who has any interest in getting a buyback, if it's open for a year or even 2, can get their claim. You know, even if they're on a year of sabbatical or whatever, that they'll have a chance to get that buyback. Because everybody that was involved and got smoked by it would not necessarily see the updates immediately. So it's important, and this is an example for marketing, it's important that when you do things like issue buybacks for products or services that haven't gone as planned and that require a buyback or a refund or a recall or anything like that, that the people who are affected have a fair and legitimate, you know, way and time and a window of opportunity to take advantage of that buyback. Because otherwise, you may be keeping funds from people that otherwise would have claimed that buyback if only they knew about it, right? So anyway, is it a good thing that he has made this buyback available? Yes, it's a good thing. Is it a good thing that it was done on such a tight timeline? Um, I'm not a particular fan of that. I think it should have been a much longer time frame. But hey, I don't have any dog in this fight. I just have sympathy for those that got scammed and would like to see a bit more, flexibility, understanding on the behalf of the people who are, Mr. Logan and whoever's managing his funds and this buyback, so that people who legitimately want their buyback, can get it on time without having the window slammed in their face, and then a month from now being told, "Oh, sorry, you missed that. You can't get it." What if they're sick? What if they're taking care of sick people? They don't have time to look at the internet. What if they're, busy with their family or busy at work or who knows what? If you give them a year or two, then they have their chance, right, to make their claims and everything else. Even if they're on sabbatical for a year, or not working for a year, or whatever, offline for some time. A 1 month period is a very short amount of time. Even if it's 2 months, whatever it is, it's a very short amount of time relatively. And if there's any technical issues or anything like that that might not be easily solved, those things can take days, weeks, or even months sometimes to solve. I'm not saying that there are, I'm just saying, these things do happen. And you have to take these things into account. So as a lesson for marketers, again, when you offer buybacks or refunds or callbacks or anything like that, you need to make sure that you plan these things in advance so that you don't get a bad public perception about it, so that people can trust that what you're saying and what you're doing are equivalent and fair and just. And in order, you do that in order to keep your good name and your good reputation, to demonstrate to the public that has been harmed potentially, or that has been harmed definitely by the situation, and having to wait years to get a refund on a project that really never had any chance of success, almost by design, if not entirely by design. So that's kind of the message for now. And I hope that things go smoothly for those who've lost funds, and that they will regain at least their ETH value. And who knows, maybe if they hold their ETH, it will go back up in value, or maybe if they sell their ETH, they'll at least be, compensated to some degree that they'll think is okay to have lived with whatever loss they might have taken. But the point is, again, as a lesson for marketers, be extremely careful when you do buybacks and reimbursements, things like that, refunds, to make sure that you leave your program open and flexible enough that you can actually take care of all the legitimate claims in a fair window of time, so that you don't get your reputation further damaged, your marketing reputation, your professional reputation, your company's reputation further damaged by doing things that may be seen as just an extension of the grift, right? So whether or not he was a grifter or a scammer is not even the point, right? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, I don't know, but his team certainly seems to have been doing scammy things on this project, and I think it would behoove him to leave that window open, but I'm not him, and I'm not on his team, and I can't advise him. Certainly not, I'm not in any direct contact with him or his team. Just some guy on the internet, right? Just some marketer with lots of years of experience doing all kinds of marketing things. So I kind of know a thing or two about ethical marketing and the right way to do things and the other ways that should be avoided. Anyway, that's all I'll say for now. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and if you're interested in NFTs, you shouldn't just do your own research, as they say. You should do a lot of it and make sure that you actually, have a reason after you verified to know that the project is, the gold standard, so to speak, and that you don't get scammed, and that whatever amount you invest in things are amounts that you can actually afford to lose, because you very well may stand the chance of losing investments. That's part of the risk. and reward aspect of investing. And anyway, this should be also a good lesson for marketers, and I hope I've made some of that clear as to how it can be done. And that's that for now. Happy marketing. Take care.